What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Off Topic. Kadeem, what's up, man? How you doing this week?
I had a good one. How about you?
Hey, man, just bought myself my first gamer chair. I was way
Oh,
too lazy to put it together, but I do have a gamer chair now.
okay, let's go. Evolution.
Um, so yeah, it's white and black. It looks pretty. I haven't even got the instructions out. I cut open the box to make sure that's what it was. I had the right color,
Left it
and I'm
right
moving
there.
on.
Yep.
Um, Anything big this week happened for you? I mean, there's been a
One step.
lot of college basketball coverage recently.
Yeah, a lot of March Madness. Celtics kind of stink right now. One
Yeah.
step closer to moving to my new crib. That's about it.
Oh, did you get any new good news on that?
We're no, it's just we're getting closer, closer.
Yeah, cool. Um, Other than that, man, I'm going to give our announcement now because I'm very excited for it. I know you're not as excited because you are kind of a downer. Uh, Guys, at 200 subs on our YouTube channel, we are going to have our next episode. We are going to be dressed up as superheroes, full costumes.
Yep.
200 subs. So please, 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 please help us get there on YouTube. We're currently at like 31 or 32, so it's going to be a ways to go. But I'm going to keep reminding you guys, sub to the channel. Also, remember check out our TikTok. We're trying to do some more stuff there, and we're on Twitter. So make sure you hit us up there, and that covers our social media. Kadeem, let's get into this. One Piece chapter 1078. It's a crazy number, man. One Piece chapter 1078. How do you feel about the chapter? How do you feel about the direction we're going? We've got one more day on Egghead until the big war battle, whatever we're going to call it is. How do you feel about the chapter so far?
So I like it because I'll tell you, it was the big reveal of who did it wasn't as cool as your idea
No,
of
no,
it being Daffy. That actually really been really good. I would have liked that. I like where we're going right now just because I'm hoping we branch off from Kid and Law. Like, I'm hoping we don't even go to Elbath. Um, I'm
you mean we don't go
hoping,
to Elbath to see Kid and Law or Kid and Shanks fight?
no, what I'm saying is, I'm hoping the Straw Hats have to go a different direction entirely. What I'm hoping is that whatever's going to happen in one day, this huge event is going to be pretty much like what sets off the next war.
Okay.
I have a couple ideas for what it may be, but nothing concrete. But I think I like where it's at. I think we're going pretty smooth. What about you?
Um, I also thought the chapter had a good direction.
Mm,
I thought it would be somebody besides York, but I think the idea that York could be awarded a spot as a celestial dragon is interesting.
hmm
Um, and then at the very end when York said there can only be one Vegapunk
Yep.
going forward, I thought that was pretty interesting. Also, that she said that. But for me, I want to see what happens when uh, Kizaru gets here.
hmm
I want to see what happens when Jay Garcia Saturn gets there. It's getting time to see like what these guys can do. What can the Straw Hats do? What can Luffy do with an admiral? What can Luffy do? Like what can Zoro do potentially against Kizaru? Could Sanji maybe keep up with his speed? Like those are just things that I'm interested in, like in general. Is it time to really test ourselves against the admirals because we haven't seen an admiral fight since Arch.
Well,
Was
one
it?
fought Sabo fought Fujitora,
Okay, I
but
mean the Straw Hats. Like
oh yeah, yeah,
like when they were on Archipelago, they
yeah.
fought and they kind of went back and forth, and we got to see Rayleigh kind of mess around with them with Kizaru. But I want to see, are they ready? Like I think that's a good indication if they're where they're going to be.
And that's what I'm excited about because at this point, even if you like, I personally believe in a perfectly fresh 1v1 fight, Kaido still beats Luffy.
Yeah.
But even if you believe Luffy's not as strong as Kaido, I mean, he should still. I think Luffy alone should be able to beat Kizaru. I think Zoro should be decently. I think Zoro should be close enough that he gives Kizaru a good fight.
Mhm.
And if it's Zoro and Sanji versus Kizaru, I'm taking Zoro and Sanji.
Yeah.
So I don't think anything that can happen here is the Straw Hats losing. What I'm more interested in is what if Kizaru gets killed, not even by Luffy? What if the Straw Hats just beat him and leave? Then someone kills him and Luffy gets blamed for it. Can that be what kicks off this war? That's the type of situation I think we might be in.
Okay, that's interesting. Um, an admiral dying would be a massive deal. Like that would be
Hmm.
huge. Uh, my only thing is like, who would be there that's strong enough to do that?
So a weakened Kizaru, fresh off a fight with Luffy,
Hmm.
could Lucci kill him? And because we know, here's the thing, we know Lucci has kind of like a bloodlust for Luffy.
Yeah.
He was willing to attack without waiting for Kizaru. So if Kizaru gets killed and he reports back to Akainu, Straw Hat killed him and left, could he edge Akainu into war so he gets to fight Luffy again? Like that's the type of stuff that I'm wondering, could something like that happen, especially because of who Kizaru has with him? Think if he dies as well.
Yeah. Saturn.
Now we have a global, incident pretty much.
That would turn into like just question. Now this
Hmm.
is because of your what you got me on your theory here is kind of spinning me. Is it possible for a cipher pull agent to jump from that to being an admiral? Because like okay, so just picture this because of what you just said. What
Hmm.
if Lucci gets going and he thinks, okay, I finish off Kizaru, could I be promoted to the admiral spot?
I think if anybody in Cypher Pole is going to do it, it's going to be Lucci
Yeah, I just
because
didn't know
Lucci.
if you think it's possible that they could be moved from there to an admiral spot.
I think he specifically could.
Okay.
Lucci's been a menace since he was a little kid. He ran CP9, which was supposed to be super elite. Now he runs CP0, which is the top of the top.
Mhm.
So if you're going to move anybody to an admiral spot, yeah, it's going to be Lucci. So I could see that.
Okay, yeah,
I
that's
just think
just
there's a lot of.
you. I like it. I want. Hey, I'm in for chaos. Like if we could get just
Yeah.
chaos, I'm in. Um. Okay, so is it gonna be a war, or do you think it's just gonna be individual fights?
I think it's going to be a war because Luffy has a fleet.
But the
He
fleet's
has.
not
No, it's not. But the same way Whitebeard's fleet pulled up, like I think that's the point of showing the fleet. Like he has the Giants, the Tontadas, and then he has like Bartholomew, like all of Birdie's
there.
pirates are going to be with him. All of pretty much everybody we met in Dressrosa and
Yeah.
their crews are coming. I think at this point Luffy has a fleet. Fishman Island will probably go to war behind him. Wano's
Now,
coming to war behind him.
I mean, I'm into that, but like, I feel like that's almost like the Straw Hats have never like called them before, so this has got to be like catastrophic for them all to show up. Because the
I
only way they
mean
know that Luffy's in trouble is the Beaver card.
that or the news. That or the news. Just like remember how they put out Ace's public execution to draw Whitebeard out?
That's a good
If
point.
they say, in 2 weeks at this location or on this island, the government plans to execute Luffy or something like that. Yeah, I think everybody comes, especially if the government has to team up with someone who they view as a lesser evil than Luffy. Yeah.
Ooh, who would that lesser evil be?
Well, the only way I think you get both of these out in one turn is if Blackbeard aligns with the government. I think if Blackbeard aligns with the government specifically to take out Luffy, especially if Blackbeard kills Garp,
But
Luffy's
why
gonna
would? Okay, keep going.
like. So let's just say Blackbeard kills Garp in this fight they're having.
Hmm.
We know Luffy's gonna come after Blackbeard. If the government says, "Look, you're going against Luffy. We need him dead because he's Nika. Let's just team up just for this and get him out here." Basically, the same thing they did with the warlords, right?
Yeah.
Just let's get him out of here for this. After that, we go about our separate ways. It'll be business as usual after. And I think that's a good way to bring the revolutionaries in. So it's Luffy's pirate crew and the revolutionaries versus Blackbeard's crew and the Marines. And I, I think that's the war.
That'd be
And
mad.
the biggest question I think is, where does Shanks fall in with that? Or is Shanks even alive because Kid took his head off? That's is Shanks alive
Is
after
Shanks
fighting
alive
Kid?
after fighting Kid?
That's the big question.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and answer your question. Shanks is alive after fighting Kid, and if Kid has two metal arms afterward, no one should be
I'm
surprised.
gonna be so mad. I'm gonna be so mad.
I mean, that's a. I'm interested. I want to see if Kid's made the leap. It's going to be incredibly hard for him to beat Shanks from what we've seen. Um, I'm into the idea. I'm ready for the war. I'm now. Do you think Egghead, or sorry, do you think Vegapunk leaves with the Straw Hats still, or do you think something he gets taken or killed?
It depends on how he interacts with Robin. Um, I think there's a chance that Vegapunk has like memorized the last poneglyph and just gives, or yeah, the last road poneglyph and just tells Robin, or tells her about the secret of the world. But if we don't get something where Vegapunk specifically gives information to Robin, then yeah, I think Luffy is taking him away.
Okay. Yeah. I'd actually like to see him go with the crew just because I think it'd be an interesting dynamic with his knowledge and them
Mhm.
with them. Okay, so hey, a lot of information about One Piece, a lot going on, a lot that could potentially happen going forward. I
You
like
know
where
what I
you're
just
at.
thought of?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Imagine him on the crew, like his knowledge and Usopp's love of tinkering. Like he makes Nami's climb attack better. He makes Usopp's Kabuto better, and like he
Mhm.
improves the gear. I think that'd be pretty cool. Oh man, him and Frankie.
Could you imagine Frankie getting another power boost because of Vegapunk? That'd be
That would be great, especially since Frankie doesn't have hockey. So if he got like sea stone cuffs or like sea stone fists or
hands,
something,
Sea Stone
yeah,
hands.
that would be really cool.
See, that would be a massive upgrade that would work
Yep,
perfectly within the story.
yep.
Um, that I you just blew my mind with the sea stone hands. That'd be sick. I don't know how that works with a robot, but I'm in.
He'll be.
Like a coating or something, yeah, would be
Mhm.
perfect. Okay, a lot of theories from you. I really liked the theories. Um, this is something we should have probably touched on the first time we talked about One Piece. Who is your favorite One Piece character and why?
Oh, Zoro.
Who's that?
It's Zoro. Um,
Never heard of him.
the there's three kind of big reasons. One, he the scene in Water Seven where he taught Luffy kind of, if you're going to be a captain, you have to have a backbone. You have to make the tough decisions. Then he said, if Usopp's not apologizing, he doesn't come back. I thought that was cool. I think Zoro's kind of honor system as a swordsman is cool. Like when he faced Mihawk and said, I won't take a scar on my back. And then the other thing is Zoro isn't someone who gets a lot of dialogue. Like most of the time, if you see Zoro, he's going to be fighting.
Hmm.
And I've always been my favorite. Ever since he took Luffy's pain, he's been the number one reason I enjoyed this series.
Yeah, and I mean, him being the combatant of the group of the Straw Hats has always been a really great role for him.
Hmm.
He's got that quiet demeanor that you just know he's dangerous. He's like a that's how how they describe him as that primal animal. You can feel it
Hmm.
coming off of him.
He's a predator.
I mean, he's honestly he's fantastic. But I'm going to pose my favorite character, and it's between Jinbei and Trafalgar D. Law.
Okay.
I just love Jinbei. I love the fact that he's just a big ass shark. Like I just find that so cool. Like the fact that the fishmen are like just the strongest ones are all sharks. It's just so cool to me. And I've just always felt like Jinbei matched up with the Straw Hats. I always
Hey,
wanted to. What?
you're right. Arlong was a shark. Jinbei is a shark. Yeah,
The only one that's super strong that's not a shark. Well, he's super strong, but I would put him under Jinbei's Jack,
Yeah, yeah.
and he's just
But he ain't a,
he's a big grouper
yeah,
fish.
yeah. But
But
yeah, I never thought of that. You're
yeah,
right.
so the strongest fishmen are all sharks, and I just thought that was
Mhm.
always badass. And like when he tanked the Big Mom attack with shark skin, I thought that was sweet.
That was
Um,
cool.
when he gave Luffy the blood transfusion, I thought all that stuff. I always wanted him to join the crew ever
Mm,
since like Marine Ford when him and Luffy broke out of prison together. Even like before when he fought Ace, I was like, that'd be so cool if he joined Luffy someday. Just because I thought he was such a badass for fighting Ace on land for five
hmm
days. Um, and then Law, like he's just he's got the best like design. His tattoos are sweet. His fruit is the one of the coolest, if not the coolest fruit. He's got I don't know. He's just got that like vibe to him. He just personifies what's cool. Like Zoro personifies badass, and then Law is just like that cool, you know, devil may care kind of guy.
I will admit, for a long time, I have been a law disrespecter. But after seeing him get busy in Wano,
Yeah,
and after seeing his crew absolutely rip shit up against Blackbeard, I will give Law his respect. He deserves it now. Before he kind of suffered from Kakashi syndrome. Now he's actually really cool.
yeah, and that's the Kakashi build like right there is
Hmm
Law. Um, to be fair, he's never really turned down a fight either. He's fought. I mean, he went up against Doffy when he was outmatched. He went up against Big Mom potentially when he was outmatched, and he's fighting Blackbeard when he's potentially outmatched again. Like
Yeah,
he doesn't.
that's
It's
some
like
rough luck.
it's very Kakashi. Like he will fight the toughest motherfuckers and just go for it. So
Yep.
those are my two favorites. I just have always been a fan of both of those. Um, do you have anybody else that you considered besides Zora? I know he's been your favorite. Is there anybody else that kind of like?
Yeah, you're gonna laugh. I love Chopper.
Well,
Chopper
Chopper's right there, right there.
Chopper is great. I mean, here's the thing. It's not he's not just like a comedic bit. I think Chopper's like the cutest fucking thing on the show. Like the moment when they come back from the time skip and he actually thinks that that's Robin and that the fake Luffy doesn't care about her and he like runs away crying. He's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be on this ship anyway. Chopper's great. And
Uh,
now that he's a respectable fighter, it's great. And I also love that Chopper, Zoro, and Robin have like a mom, dad, son kind of complex, and I think that's really great.
I'll never forget like when I first watched One Piece, I used to talk to you about it all the time. And
Hmm
then when Chopper finally turned into Monster Chopper, there will be nothing ever that I'm as excited about. When he popped those three Rumble balls and said, "If I die, it just
Yeah,
like it's," and he shows up as a monstrosity, just ready to fight. It was so cool. So
and
Chopper definitely has a place in my heart for sure.
do you remember what he said against Big Mom? Like when Big Mom's
Oh,
coming
when he
to the
got
ship.
drowned her.
Yeah, he said. Now he's like Chopper. You'll never take her. You'll never be able to beat her. He was like, yeah, but I'll drag her to the depths with me. I was like, oh my heart, please.
At such a small size and just like when he really needs to, Chopper steps up and is fearless. Like,
That's
and
my
it's
King of the
important.
Fight.
Yeah, no, I mean, if Chopper slid his way in there, I wouldn't be upset.
Let's go.
All right, next. This is your idea. I know you're
Hmm
excited about this one. We're going to have a fictional weapons draft. We've
Yep.
got 5 draft picks, the best weapons in all of fiction. Kadeem, as always, we will give you the first pick.
With the first pick in the fictional weapons draft, I'm selecting what I believe is hands down the coolest fictional weapon ever. It's the lightsaber.
That's a big one right off the top of the board. Lightsaber's an
It's
obvious pick.
it
I
can
was going
be
to take lightsaber, so
it can be any color. It melts through anything. It makes a cool sound when you swing it. Lightsaber is the number one pick for sure.
yeah, nope, easy pick. For my first round pick, I'm going with I'm going to pick Mjolnir. It's it, it's guys, it's the best hammer. It's the coolest thing, man. Like Thor, it's hard to even describe, but you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Thor uses it in so many different ways. The way he fights with the hammer, the way he uses it to fly, to just do anything. Mjolnir is an easy pick for my first round. Kadeem, your pick?
I took one of mine off the board, so I'm going to take what I think is one of yours. I'm going with the Green Lantern ring. This is probably by far the most versatile weapon I think I can imagine. It can do, and it's limited to what you can think of. So it can do just about anything. Super cool. Green Lantern ring.
That is it's a big one on my list. That was definitely where I was going next. I was hoping you'd go a different route. So my number 2 pick is going to be I'm gonna take the Buster Sword from Final Fantasy VII Cloud's sword. I just like it for the iconic look of Final Fantasy VII. I like the size. I always liked fighting with it. I'm going with the Buster Sword as my second round pick. What do you got?
Okay. This one's a little off the cuff.
Okay.
I'm going with the Golden Gun from the James Bond Golden Eye chain.
That's a great pick.
I'm picking this because anybody who's ever picked up the Golden Gun knows what it feels like to be God. And it's one hit and it's over. It's legendary. And I think it's made many a Nintendo night.
That's a great answer. The Golden Gun is it's just a great pick. You're killing this. My third pick is going to be I'm going to go with one that's a little bit weird also. I'm going with the Noisy Cricket from Men in Black.
That is a good pick.
That gun had insane destructive abilities. It was compact. I thought it was so fun watching Will Smith shoot that thing in public. So Noisy Cricket is my round 3 pick.
I'll tip my hat to that one. That did not cross my mind. As soon as I heard it, I knew it should have. That's a really good pick.
What do you got next?
Little out there. I'm going with the Batarang.
The Batarang?
Just because it's so iconic that it's in the shape of a bat. It can do just about anything. Like these things can insulate electricity. Obviously, you can throw them and fight people. You knock out lights with them. I think it's probably one of the more iconic weapons I could think of, and it's super versatile. So I'm going with the Batarang.
Okay, at my number 4, fourth round pick, I'm going with the Lancer from Gears of War. The half chainsaw, half gun. I always thought it was super badass. Just you could cut somebody in half or mow them down with the gun. It's got a lot of functionality. I'm going with the Lancer from Gears of War.
For my 5th pick.
Number 5.
For my 5th pick, I struggled with a couple of them. One from God of War, one from Ben 10, a couple.
Ooh.
But I landed on the BFG from Doom.
Okay, that's a good answer.
For those who haven't played, the BFG stands for the big fucking gun.
Yes.
And that's exactly what it is. It used to be like plasma, now it's like some mystical devil energy that powers it. Whatever. You fire one round and everything in the room dies. Absolutely incredible. BFG takes my number 5 spot.
Okay, this one I went back and forth with because I kind of wanted to add something from anime, but at the same time, I didn't want to use anything that would be too crazy, and I didn't know if you considered it a weapon or not. So I'm going to say I'm going to go with Longclaw from Game of Thrones.
Okay, I can get with that.
Jon Snow was one of my favorite characters. I think the sword with the wolf's head is pretty iconic at this point. The Valyrian steel Just it just all works for me. So I'm gonna go with Long Claw as my last pick. I will say it was between Long Claw and I was gonna use, if not, I was gonna pick the Death Note.
Ooh,
But I didn't know if the Death Note counted as a weapon. It
I
kills
would
people,
say
but at the same time, it's I don't know how you wanted to. I didn't want to like get into semantics.
I would have let it slide. I would have let it slide.
Okay, was there any of the ones that any weapons that you like almost had in your top five but didn't make it? Similar to like I had with the Death Note.
Two. One was the Blades of Chaos.
I honestly
It's
thought you were
Kratos.
taking that early. I thought that was going to be out of there early.
They were close. They're Kratos' signature weapons in
Mhm.
God of War, made of primordial flame, and they have chains that are attached to his wrists. So instead of holding and stabbing, he like swings them, which is great. The others, the Omnitrix from Ben 10, turn into any alien you want. I mean, that's kind of just self-explanatory. You
Yeah,
just turn into different aliens for 10 minutes. So those were my close ones.
I like those. I like those a lot. Yeah, no, I literally when we were going down the draft, I was like, okay, he hasn't taken the God of War thing yet. What? Why is he not taking? Because I thought that was a shoe in because
Mhm.
that's your thing. So I definitely, hey, I respect you going a different route. It's tough when you take the when your first two are lightsaber and Green Lantern ring. It's hard to catch
Yeah,
up. Hard to catch
yeah.
up after that. I mean, Mjolnir is a good first round pick for me, and then I kind of just I took some swings there with some other options.
Noisy Cricket was super respect. That was a sleeper that's going to the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, hey, late round pick turns out to be a little bit of
Yep.
a stud. All
Okay.
right, hey, that was a good draft. I actually really enjoyed that because I thought I had you pegged, and you took some interesting ones. Next thing we're gonna get into, uh, we're both currently reading stuff. What manga are you currently reading?
It's called Vagabond.
Tell us
It's
more.
the,
'Cause I've heard
the
good things.
story of Musashi Miyamoto. If you watch Record of Ragnarok, he fought in that. He's one of the legendary swordsmen. It's the story of how it's a story about his life, like inspired by real events type thing. And he just starts off as super strong and super angry. And it seems like as he's going through life, he's training, learning the way of the sword, and learning a lot about himself. It's a really, really good one.
And I've heard that from you, and I've heard that from other people. So if you guys are, looking for something new to read, definitely try to go after it and look at Vagabond.
Vagabond.
For Vagabond, sorry. For me, I'm currently actually reading Record of Ragnarok. I got tired of waiting for the anime to come back around. The anime gets shit on by the whole community, so I decided to start reading it. And holy shit, guys! I just
Really?
read Buddha versus Hyjon, the god of the sixth heaven, and that was crazy. It was
Yeah.
awesome. Buddha is a very cool character. Just he has this staff that can change into anything he wants when he needs it, and it's a super diverse and super cool weapon. And then this big demon from hell pretty much comes down, and it's a really good fight. It's fun to read. I've gotten really into these fights. You get to see people like Jack the Ripper fight. So if you guys are looking for something that's not crazy good, not crazy bad, it's enjoyable to read. Check out Record of Ragnarok. I wouldn't recommend the anime if you're a snob because you will not like it. Um,
What's been your favorite fight so far? Is it the Buddha fight?
no, 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 no. It's Jack the Ripper versus Hercules.
That was really good, wasn't it?
Dude, I
That
was
was
like, when
really good.
so what you got to take into consideration is the people that are fighting for humanity are enhanced. They're not fighting just as
Yeah.
humans. So you got to take that into consideration. But Jack fighting Hercules, like when they said it was Hercules that he was fighting, like, oh, okay, we're screwed. We're gonna take it out here. And his ability, like just anything he touched was a projectile slash weapon. So everything he touched was always coming at Hercules, giving him any like Hercules could see the good in people. And at the end of
hmm
the fight, he kind of changed Jack from killing machine to like he could see some good in him again.
I love Jack's backstory, like with his mom in the brothel and stuff
Yes.
like that. That was a good one. That's my favorite. After that, I really liked Adam. Adam and Zeus.
So where I'm at, Adam fighting with the brass knuckles was a crazy cool choice for me. Like,
Yeah,
what a weapon choice. From where I'm reading at, it seems like Nostradamus is potentially our strongest human.
think so.
How do you feel about that?
Um,
Nostradamus as the strongest human.
I don't know because I think they're saving Leonidas for last. And I really want to see Leonidas because Leonidas already kind of has like when you read certain accounts of like Thermopylae, Leonidas actually sounds like he was Captain America. Like they have him like picking up people and choking them with one hand. Like he's already kind of a god by story. So I really want to see what Leonidas does.
The only reason I say that is because Nostradamus broke the Bifrost, and to me, that's kind of
Yeah,
insane.
that's fair. That's fair.
And then the guy that's currently fighting Hades or about to fight him seems like he's a physical freak. He's the Chinese emperor.
Oh, Quincy
Like,
one. Yeah, yeah.
well, like when you're just walking through like solid like walls, and then you flip over Ares twice without any effort, you seem like you're a freak to me. So,
He has
um,
like it was like the coolest line in the series where he says, "I walk the path of the." He said, "I walk the path of an emperor. The correct way is where I lead," or something like that. And I'm like, "Oh God, that's
no, this
awesome."
this guy personifies just badass energy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm definitely interested in where this Hades versus the Emperor's fight goes.
Mhm.
So, guys, if you're looking for something to read, drop down, check out Vagabond, and then check out Record of Ragnarok. Hey, tell us what you guys are watching in the comments. We love to check out new stuff.
Please do.
Kadeem, this takes us into something we've talked about back and forth between ourselves. What do you think is more important to a good story, the villain or the hero?
I'm going the villain.
Yeah.
I'm going the villain. Just
What?
because.
Yeah.
Keep going.
What villain personifies that the most to you?
Darth Vader. Darth Darth Vader. Like to me, and don't get me wrong, Obi-Wan was an excellent mentor, legendary. Luke Skywalker is such a good hero to me that I've seen people have him almost like King Arthur, like up there as like just the ultimate good. Darth Vader is the reason people love Star Wars, in my opinion,
Okay.
because he's the ultimate force of darkness. He's intimidating. He sounds amazing. He sounds scary. He looks scary. And whenever you see him, it's like all hope has been sucked out of the room. I think he's fun to root for in the sense that you want to see him fight, but he's very easy to root against in the sense that you really don't want him to win. So yeah, I think the villain is by far the most important part.
And I think that most people would agree with you because throughout, you know, throughout time, really, great villains has carried movies, TV,
Mm-hmm.
anime, manga, all types of media. But I will say, like, if no good hero ever poses a like ideal that like is a counter to a villain, it's hard
Mm-hmm.
for like if Vader had nobody to ever test himself against, it would be pretty
Yeah,
hard for him to be a great villain.
yeah.
So I was trying to think of like the perfect hero. I was trying to think of like in a movie, and I'm going to say if you've ever seen Aliens, Ripley is the perfect hero to build around. You care about her, like you don't ever know who the alien, like that Queen Alien is. You know
Mm-hmm.
Ripley. You know Ripley's trying to survive against the alien horde, not to be used for reproduction. Ripley is a perfect hero to build around, and you don't have like the villain doesn't necessarily have to be some deep
Amazing.
character with goals and things like that. Um, the queen obviously has the goal of reproduction and taking over, but it's not like Darth Vader who has, more to
Yeah,
him, more depth and things like that. So I would say Ripley is a good counter to somebody like Darth Vader in terms of perfect villain versus a hero who you can rally around and you don't need that villain to play off of per se. Um,
good answer.
Another good villain that really drives a movie that I wanted to say, Jaws. Jaws is perfect. Like the shark is the perfect villain and
Hmm.
it never says a word, but it's out there at all times It's you can hear the music, the lead into the shark coming. It's ominous. It's got that like scary to it, and you almost like when you see the shark swim by, you can see that it's coming back around. Things like that. Like the shark really is a perfect villain. So
To
I'm
help
with you
you
on that. I think villains are super important.
to help you out, I think one of the things that we love to talk about is Last of Us,
Oh yeah,
and I think that was a good show that was made by the heroes, basically, just because Ellie and Joel were never up against the same thing twice. But we liked them so much that no matter what they faced, we always showed up to see how they got through it. Almost
yeah.
like the old Batman stuff, you know? So yeah, I see your point.
And then almost you could almost spin that and say Joel could be a good villain at the very end
This is true.
because he had to make a choice that turned him into a villain, and people are going to side with his ideology, similar to let's say the Joker in the new Joker movie,
Hmm.
or these villains that you can almost rally behind and you want
Hmm.
them to succeed almost. That's a good way to spin a villain. Um, so I just wanted to touch on that because I think those are such important parts of a story. Um, let's get into this. We got three questions from the audience tonight, Kadeem.
Okay.
Starting with number one. If you could only watch one TV show or movie for the rest of your life, what would it be?
It's gonna sound really corny, but if I can only watch one thing, it has to be something I'm not gonna get tired of.
Mm-hmm.
The only two things that come to mind are South Park and Family Guy.
South Park.
Like I can watch those and laugh at them,
Yeah.
and so those are probably the two. Either one of those, if you give me those forever, I'm always gonna find them funny.
It's a really hard choice. I tried to think of something that is long running, like so there's just a lot of episodes you get to watch.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna go with the comedy route also. I'm gonna pick Seinfeld because it has a lot of seasons. I love the dry comedy. I love the way just the way the cast interacts. So and it's got like almost 20 seasons or something I can't remember now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a lot. And it's just I always enjoyed Seinfeld. It's one of my favorite shows. So I'm gonna go with Seinfeld as the thing I would watch forever.
Okay.
Question number two. What is your favorite slash best attack in anime?
Oh well, I mean, it's gonna sound generic because it's like the grandfather of all good attacks, but I'm going with the Kamehameha. Um, I was 7, 8, 9 years old, putting my hands together and saying the words. Even now, if I just hear someone say Kame, my head instantly goes there
Yeah.
because there's nothing else it can be. Uh, it's to me that's the greatest attack in anime.
Okay. I think you're right when you say it's the greatest attack and it's also the most iconic attack. But
Hmm.
my favorite attack is Dragon of the Darkness Flame from Yu Yu Hakusho. It is so cool, dude. Hiei, one of my favorite characters, produces a black dragon from his hand and it
Hmm.
engulfs the arena and it hits this guy and it just leaves smolders on the wall. It's one of the coolest, most grand attacks in the whole show. It's easily my favorite attack
Yeah. Okay.
in anime. And then our final question: if you could switch places with anyone in the world, A, would you do it? And if so, who would you switch with? Now we got to remember we're giving up family, children, job, fiancés, wives, whatever you want to call it. We're giving up all of that to switch places with anyone in the world. Would you do it? And if so, who?
See, there's nobody whose life. I'm gonna say no. I would want to if I wish to switch with somebody. I want it to be somebody super rich and super young,
Mm-hmm.
so I can enjoy everything. But I can't think of anybody who I want to switch with that's worth giving up. A life at the moment. I'm sorry, I can't think of anybody I switch with. What about you? These are real people, right? Not fictional.
No, no, real people, real people.
Oh yeah, I can't think of anybody.
Um, I no, it would be super impossible to give up my children and things like
Hmm.
that. Um, yeah, not everything's perfect, and money would solve a lot of things, but it'd be so hard to ever give up something that's yours, like kids. So I'm going to say no. Also, I don't even know like if a fictional person I would be able to do it. It's just a lot to give up. Um, you know.
You make me Superman. I can forget about some
Yeah, I
things in my
mean,
life.
I guess if you're Superman,
Yeah,
do you remember?
Superman. I probably start forgetting about some things in my life.
Do you remember when you introduced me to Superman or what Superboy Prime 1 million, and I
Not
told you about Jesus coming down and, and him just getting fucked up?
you. You said if he hit Jesus once in the stomach, he'd just hunch over like.
I don't know what
Yeah,
made me, I don't know why I thought about that, but like, just picture Jesus fighting somebody like Superboy Prime 1 million. Just think about like what would turning water into wine do against a guy like that?
not a lot. Not a lot.
All right, Kadeem. Man, we had a good episode. We're gonna be back again next week.
Mhm.
We're gonna work on some new segments throughout the week for you guys. Kadeem, you got anything left for them before we get out of here?
Just that it's always been a pleasure. And if there's anything you want to see, hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on TikTok. Let us know if you have anything you want us to cover.
All right, guys. Remember, 200 subscribers, full superhero costumes. Make this guy dress up, please. And remember, send us questions. We will answer them on the show. You guys have a great rest of your night. Thank you. See you next time.
Bye, y'all.